Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, coming at you with another Halloween edition of What You Mean You Ain't Seen a Ween. And today we're taking a look at Friday the 13th Part 7. And I am joined by...
Free.
Logan.
What you mean you ain't seen Friday the 13th Part 7? The New Blood? Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, was originally released in 1988, rated R, coming in at 88 minutes. The film is directed by John Carl Beechler, and is written by Daryl Haney and Manuel Fadelo. Starring John Autran, Susan Blue, Lar Park Lincoln, and starring motherfucking Kane Hodder as Jason Voorhees.
Spoilers for Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. So in this movie, Tina, a teenage girl with psychic powers, returns to Camp Crystal Lake, where years earlier, she accidentally killed her daddy. Trying to raise him from the dead, she accidentally brings me back to life. And from there, it's the same old bullshit as 4 of the previous 6 of my movies. Alright, so let's see what these nerd scum assholes thought about my movie, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
That's right, children of the screen. We watched Friday the 13th Part 7. So, what'd you guys think?
It was fun. There was less effects than I was wanting. So
Fair.
You did say they kind of cut it to bits, so
Yeah.
I'll give it that. But it was okay.
You know, not to shrug, but goddamn, once we got to like third act, it was fine. But everything up till I'm like,
Yeah.
It was kind of slow.
is it a bit slow?
Yeah, it was a little bit slow. Yeah. Spend a lot of time building kind of character stuff, but we'll get into that here in a minute. But yeah, in general, it is kind of my second favorite of the Friday the 13th movies. That's not to say I think it's the second best out of all the Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah.
For last Friday the 13th, we covered my favorite, which is Part 4, which I think is the best Friday the 13th film. And when I say that, I also don't include anything after Jason Takes Manhattan. Like, once they start being called something other than Friday the 13th, I categorize those as their own thing, even though it's part of the same franchise. I don't care. When I say it's my second favorite Friday the 13th movie, I mean from the first one to the 8th one. And most of that is just because of the cool factor of, like, it's Jason at his most badass. But if I'm being objective, I would say it's a decent slasher film.
Bree, what was your favorite thing in Friday the 13th, Part 7?
I'm sure that's exactly what Jason sounds like.
Hell yeah, bitch!
Jesus.
Oh my god. Probably the dick joke. The magnifying glass.
Home dude is like opening up all the birthday gifts because he's got a little metal detector or some shit.
And it's like penis and personal penis enlargement.
Yeah.
He opens up, it's a fucking magnifying glass.
It's a magnifying glass.
Ridiculous.
That's a pretty good
Golden.
moment. That is the best joke in the whole fucking movie, which is a little bit sad.
Yeah.
No,
But
that was great.
but unlike the previous movie, this one wasn't really trying to be that funny. So it did manage to be funny in a couple of unintentional places, but that's the best intentional joke in the movie.
Yeah.
And for you?
Probably Jason. Like that Jason. I liked him. The chain and shit, like
Yes.
just all the extra stuff going on with him compared to the others.
My intention was to redesign the look of Jason specifically to reflect all the damage that had been done to him in the previous movies, and the fact that he had been chained to the bottom of a lake for 10 years at the beginning of the movie gave me a starting point. I mean, he was resurrected from the dead in the previous one. They shoved the blades of a motorboat into his neck and his face, and I just got tired of seeing a guy in a gray costume wearing gloves with a hockey mask walking around and there was nothing wrong with him. So I made a lot wrong with him.
The chain comes from the last movie where
Yeah.
they like sink him to the bottom,
Right,
which we
right.
haven't watched. Which
Yeah.
we're doing these out of order. I don't give a fuck. But yeah, Jason is fucking badass in this
Yeah.
movie. He's not only does he look fucking badass,
Yeah.
but like he's also played in a completely different way than he's been played before.
A little more aggressive.
Yeah, he is a fucking juggernaut in this
Yeah.
movie. Where like, there's nothing you throw at him is going to stop him.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, it seems like I might be camera angles and all that. Like, he's a much bigger dude. It feels like.
yeah,
Like they're framing, he looks like a good, easy 7-foot
Yeah.
guy. You know, massive.
Kane Hodder is a fucking big fucking dude. He is just like built like a brick shit house.
Yeah.
And like he's been a stunt coordinator for a long time, and like a lot of the things that people consider to be like signature Jason things are things he brought to it, like the idea that Jason always like moves head first. So like if he hears something, he turns his whole head and then his body moves, and then after that he becomes like a shark and just like keeps his eye on the prize.
That's really interesting.
And because Kane Hodder is so big, he can sell like the classic Jason kills better than almost anyone. Like the idea of him like crushing someone's head in his bare hands like is cool in other movies, but with Kane Hodder you just buy it. And also the way that he actually sells the effort. Like
yeah.
even though Jason's huge and it should be easy, he still sells it like it's effort to do it.
Yeah, you can
Like
see
he's kind of
his-
having
Yeah.
to twist and
Right,
grind.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
which
yeah.
is like what makes it really like, oh, because it's not effortless. It's just like, holy shit.
It's crushing someone's skull.
Yeah, and like again, the makeup effects for Jason in this are
Yes,
beautiful.
really good.
I love the fact that you can see his kneecaps. Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
sticking
and
yeah.
the
through
spine the
and
whole
the spine
The
and like the
hands,
fingers.
yeah, it's all
and,
great.
when the mask gets ripped away towards the end, he looks like what he is at this point, a fucking monster.
Yeah.
And again, I wanted to mention those makeup effects because now I'm going to show y'all something that like really pushes home why Kane Hodder is the ultimate Jason. Keep in mind, Kane Hodder did this movie, and then he played Jason in the next 3 movies before he was replaced by the director and the studio because they wanted a different feel for Jason. You remember towards the end of the movie where she catches Jason on fire.
And the fire scene is really one of the most difficult ones I've done. I've done a lot of fire, fully engulfed fire stunts, but that was different because of the costume I had to wear, and also the fact that we ignited on camera, which I guess you don't really think about it, but most often when you see someone on fire, you cut from something else to the shot of him already on fire. It's done quickly, so you don't really notice, but in this, we had the ignition, Luke Carlucci rigged a propane cannon, so it blasted fire out of the furnace, whatever, and ignited me on camera, and then I did the stunt, and I was on fire for like 40-something seconds, which was extremely long at the time. Still is fairly long, but back then it was almost unheard of.
Kane Hodder got 3rd-degree burns on the set of this movie doing that stunt himself.
Oh, wow.
As Jason, because he was a stuntman, a trained stuntman. And they didn't have any of the necessary medical precautions near. They didn't have an ambulance waiting. They didn't have any of the regular fire safety stuff. So they ended up driving him to the closest house with a telephone, which was 45 minutes away. And then he like took a shower in these ladies' shower and started peeling off the makeup and his own skin and all this shit. And then eventually got to go to the hospital. And then he still came back to play this role for 3 more movies after this happened to him.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's intense.
And, like, it's all down, like, you can see where his ear kind of, and again, like, he loves playing the character, and he came back, and he's done it better than anyone else. Like, this guy literally gave a piece of himself, or
Here, those
pieces of
images.
himself.
Here.
Oh yeah, I'm
Here.
gonna be
Him.
putting the pictures on the screen for them as y'all are
Crazy.
seeing it.
Yeah.
Like this dude gave a lot for this role and put a lot in this role, and every fucking second that he's on screen shows it.
Yeah.
Like there is no disputing that Kane Hodder is the ultimate fucking Jason.
That's insanity. Wow.
When Kane isn't scaring people half to death, he spends much of his time helping them heal. He does a lot of charity work with children. Hodder says in his younger years he was known to raise a little Cain, but an accident during a fire stunt a while ago almost cost him his life and months in a burn center. He's healed now, but he keeps going back.
I think I do a lot of good at burn centers, especially with kids, because you get to the point where you start giving up, and you need to have somebody there that is looking totally normal, other than having scars, and you can see, well, maybe there is a normal life I can have after this.
And what about you, Nerd Scum? What was your favorite thing?
What was my favorite thing, Jason? I'll tell you what my favorite thing was. First off, stop looking at me like that, motherfucker, and just chill your head sphere. My favorite thing about the film is the fact that they made it a legitimate attempt to up the ante.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the last film had been played mostly as, like, a joke, as, like, comedy, and that was cool, like, it worked fine for that movie, but in this one they wanted to bring, like, a sense of jeopardy and a sense of stakes, and I don't think that completely works out in the movie. But by adding the character who has telepathic powers, it is really, it gives Jason an actual adversary to fight,
Yeah.
instead of someone to just continuously get away from him. It's someone who can put up a real fight against him and hurt him and do damage to him. And I think that creates, like you were saying, once the third act of the movie really kicks in, like, it creates a really interesting dynamic that we don't really have in any other movie with Jason until you get to, like, Jason versus Freddy.
Yeah, there are definitely a few points where you can tell he's annoyed with her by all
Yeah.
the shit she's throwing at him.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny.
It is. And again, Kane Hodder's great in those moments where he sells that through all that makeup just with body language and stuff. And yeah, so, like, my favorite thing about the movie is just that. Like, again, this movie, we'll get into the characters again here in a minute, probably. I'm sure they'll come up momentarily. But there's a lot of things that are lacking in the movie. But you can still tell that as you watch it, there was an honest attempt to do something new and something different, to bring you, like, a different take on the same old story, and to kind of up the ante from the previous installments and, like, expand the mythology. And I definitely commend the movie for that. As a kid, those elements really spoke to me and are some of the things that really made me love this movie as much as I do.
Jason.
What was your least favorite thing, Bree?
My least favorite thing?
Yeah.
Well, you see, probably the Doctor and his whole bastard self.
I didn't see the TARDIS in this movie.
Okay, I understand what you're trying to do here.
Oh, Jesus.
No, not that Doctor.
Oh, the psychiatrist.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I don't recognize him as a physician of any kind.
Or a
That's
doctor, for that matter.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Good.
Yeah, but fair, he is technically a doctor. But yeah, he's a fucking prick.
Yeah, he is.
Piece of shit.
Yeah.
He psycho-fucks the shit out of poor Tina.
Yeah, and he does, like, we don't even really get a satisfying death. Like, we know he dies, but it's just like, ew, I've been cut on my stomach
Right.
and I'm dead.
It's
No.
merely it's a flesh wound.
Really, all the
It was-
characters kind of do that.
Yeah, but, like, he's the one where it really matters, and we
Yeah.
just saw
Yeah.
Tina's mom die, and we actually got to see her die in one of the more graphic death scenes in the
Yeah.
movie.
Right.
So it's just like,
By his hands, too, like holding
yeah,
her
like, he
up.
has a part in it because he's a total piece of shit like that.
Yeah.
But we should have noticed, because he's the only person in this movie who had their collar flipped. He's the only one who thought that was fucking cool. So we should have seen that he had ulterior motives.
Right.
That-
Shame on us.
That fuck
He was just missing sunglasses
at night.
at night.
I wear my sunglasses.
That'll definitely get us
at
copyright tagged.
You're not trying, Tina.
Yes, I am.
Think about it moving and make it move.
I can't. I told you I don't know how it happens. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't happen.
And you're lying to me. You are lying because it happens when your emotions are at their peak. Come on, you're holding back. Concentrate. Concentrate, Tina. Now, what did you do? What went through your mind?
I was thinking about you. Look, I don't know how any of this is going to help me.
Your psychokinetic ability is a projection of the suppressed guilt feelings that you have.
Would you speak English? You're more interested in this telekinetic stuff than you are in me.
That is not true, Tina. The only reason that I'm here is to help you overcome the guilt that you have about your father's death. That's all.
That's bullshit!
Logan, what was your least favorite thing in my 7th movie?
You had a super profound, like, statement about how they tried to one-up and they had so much effort. However, the beginning of this movie is horribly average.
Just
Fucking yeah, I
Go
don't
over
know.
there.
It's just nothing like, you know.
No,
just
that's
nothing that was
fair.
like,
I mean,
you know, like you just get these characters that you know are gonna die, but like, and then they undercut that by not really getting any brutal ones, really, like ones that
yeah,
you don't really
I
get.
mean,
And
the first that's fair. The first like 2/3 of the movie are pretty slow.
yeah,
Like half of that is them trying to build characters and like develop characters, which like again the mother doesn't get a lot of development, but she does get a decent amount of screen time. But no, yeah, like Tina and the doctor, they get a fair amount of character development, but at the same time they're not that interesting. Like at the time the movie came out, I can definitely see it working better because like of where horror movies were, and like introducing that element
yeah,
would have been a much more intriguing thing. Also at the same time, the effects for her psychic abilities don't really work as well today as I'm
Yeah.
sure they did. Like some of them towards the end of the movie are great, but especially as they're introducing her power and stuff,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
don't
the
really,
match
they
thing,
don't really
really
hold
weird.
up, especially when you get to the DVD transfer where like there's some things that should be hidden in shots that aren't
Yeah.
hidden in shots anymore. But yeah, and also you have the problem of, as we kind of said, the movie was cut to ribbons. And basically in order to make their contracted feature length, they had to basically pad out the beginning of the movie because they had lost so much at the end. A good example is like the scene where like the pier breaks and the girl's father dies, Tina's dad dies. Like that scene should have been like this, but because they had to fill time, they basically they almost used almost everything they shot, you know, and then they had to bring it back in a flashback for more padding there in a minute.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, because of all the things that were taken out of the movie, the first two, like the latter half of the movie still works.
yes,
Which is, I think, a testament to how well that stuff is shot and like how well the original concepts for it was. But once you lose all that stuff, it really makes the other stuff that you have to make more meandering, and you have to like leave in pauses you'd normally cut out and all that
yeah,
stuff.
which makes the overall feel a little more just
Yeah, it really hurts the flow and the pacing, and then by the time you get to the good stuff, you've already sat through so much stuff that's just like,
yeah.
come on, guys. Yeah, so that's totally understandable.
There goes the neighborhood.
And that leads really, really well into my least favorite thing, because that's actually kind of what we've been talking about for the last minute. I hate how how badly this movie was chopped up by the fucking MPAA. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And very little of the footage was archived properly. A lot of it was destroyed. Most of it's unusable in terms of like turning in like a new render and like doing
Extended cut.
like an
Yeah.
extended cut. But you do have like little behind the scenes footage that was shot at the same time they were shooting film, and you have a few scraps of the actual film that is on the DVD, and you can see how elaborate the effects they created were, and like how, because the guy who directed this, Buechler, is an effects guy.
Yeah.
Like that's his main thing that he did before he got into directing, is he did special effects for movies just like this. And like he really went all out and created some amazing things, and almost all of it got cut out of the movie.
Yeah, it sucks.
And you can also see that like in all of the scenes where someone dies, he sets up the tension really, really well. Like he knows how to shoot those sequences.
Yeah.
But we never get like the payoff at the end
Yeah.
as we're expecting it. Like we get built up, like it's like getting a hand job where like at the last minute
God.
they just go like, "You're good, right?" You're
No,
good, right?"
bitch!
No, fuck
No.
you. Use your mouth.
Fuck. All right.
And like that's really the shame of this movie, is that they should have used their mouth.
Right. Of course.
By which I mean like.
Lesson learned. I mean,
By which I mean the movie tried to up the ante. It tried to give us something fresh and different and interesting, but also give us all the things that are like customary to this, and then also like give us the best effects that we've seen since Savini worked on a Friday the 13th film. That's the things they tried to do. And you can tell when you watch the movie that they had the materials to make all of that, to do what they wanted to do, and between
And
the
they probably succeeded.
yeah, no, I mean
But we don't
in
know.
the shooting of it,
Yeah.
like
In
clearly
theory.
they had what they needed, but between the MPAA and the studio, like their chance to make a really good Friday the 13th movie was kind of stolen. Which is another reason why probably just like all those things that I see there probably cloud my judgment in terms of like ranking it in terms of my favorite, second favorite, or third favorite or something like that. But yeah, that's my least favorite thing, is that like this movie could have been fucking great, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it's not awful, but like it's not amazing either. And I don't think that's the fault of anyone who worked on the movie directly.
I also wanted to have an opportunity to do some really striking, over-the-top situations with regard to the story, and there was a lot of conversations being had. Ultimately, we settled upon him needing a match that would really challenge him.
Right on, guys. So, would you recommend Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood?
yeah,
Whoa. I was even gonna say sure.
yeah, I would. I mean, I liked the other one more,
Well,
but
yeah.
I like it.
That's the arguable
fun.
best one.
Yeah.
No, that one's cool.
It was fun. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely would recommend it to people who like horror movies. If you're into slasher movies, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it doesn't have the amount of gore that a lot of films like this have, but, like I said, there is some really cool stuff in this in the third
Yeah.
act that, it, for me at least, makes the wait to get to that worth it and stuff. And beyond that, like, it's just cool. Like, it's not the greatest movie, and it's a shame they didn't get it to make the movie that they really wanted to make. But it's certainly not Jason Takes Manhattan or fucking Part 5. Which, by the way, you can go and check out our Tangent video, which I guess I'm going to actually make and edit and publish.
He just dropped
I'll
that.
leave the
Yeah,
link
alright.
for it down in the description below.
It's a thing that's happening now.
Yeah, apparently.
Dan, what are you doing?
Right on, children of the screen. Thank you very much for joining us for another edition of What You Mean You Ain't Seen a Ween.
Good night, guys.
Later.
And if you like this video, please leave a like and share it with your friends. Also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit that little bell so you get updates on all the content we'll have coming out in the future. Furthermore, guys, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, the link for that will be in the description below.
Right on, children of the screen. Once again, thank you very much. I hope you all have a good one. Nerd scum, motherfucking out.
Do you see the way that fucking asshole is looking at me with his coat? You're undead, you prick! Why the fuck do you need a coat? fucking remakes.